Yeah, we're here in Union Square. We had a big global chemtrail march today, and I mean, it wasn't exactly what I had hoped for, but you know, we had the people that turned out that needed to be here, and they're here, and it's going to grow, and our presence is going to grow, and but we're here in Union Square, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So what is your name again?
My name is Eric Leiser, and I came here today. I live in the Lower East Side, Manhattan, from Northern California. I'm an artist. I came here today because I learned about the rally against geoengineering and chemtrails, and I was really excited because I feel like I've been, you know, raising awareness kind of on my own for a while, so it's good to get together with other people. We had some really interesting conversations. What I shared and wanted to share today is about kind of the history of a lot of this mind control and chemtrail and geoengineering. It's kind of all interconnected.
So you definitely think there's a connection between chemtrails and mind control?
I think there's a definite connection between chemtrails and mind control.
How would you describe that?
To make a long story short, if you can poison the human brain through heavy metals and cause neurological damage, it's going to be a lot easier to manipulate people via all sorts of matter. Television, satellite radio frequencies,
HAARP, pop
songs, the air, indoctrination in school, peer pressure.
You think they're using nano?
Political, nanotechnology, hypersonic sound, MK Ultra techniques. I mean, a lot of this was developed long ago. It's intensified apparently in the World War with the Russians and the United States, the Nazis and all that. They were all kind of racing to have these psychotropic weapons. And even though the Nazis, even though the Nazis lost,
but did they?
Did they? They're still kind of around. I mean, evil never sleeps, right? So, but what I wanted to share personally is not some, you know, scattered knowledge that I've learned. It's like what I actually had the experience with this last summer, and that's I was at a friend's funeral, and it was in East Hampton, and I decided to go out to Montauk because I knew about Camp Hero and the Montauk experiments and the battleship that disappeared and all the lore. And I biked out to Camp Hero, and after some, you know, not listening to my intuition to not go there, I went there, and what I decided to do is to get as close as I could to the radio tower, and where the experiment happened. And apparently experiments are still happening. And when I was biking up, I saw a black SUV with an NSA sticker on it, and it freaked me out, but I was already there, so I wanted to check out the tower. What I did, like a lot of other people, is I hopped the fence, and I got pretty close to the dish. There's tons of graffiti, there's some alien graffiti and all types of stuff. I know people hang out there all the time. It's pretty commonly done, people hopping the fence. But what happened to me is I was filming, I felt this very sharp pain go into my head, and I had a sense that I was in a no time. I was like in a dead zone. I also felt like multiple times were all in one place. It was very hard to describe. It was definitely extra-dimensional.
Or interdimensional.
Interdimensional, extra inner outer space. Anyways, I was really concerned because I had a throbbing headache for at least a month afterward. I really thought, actually I knew that I had some brain damage. And that's a terrifying thing to happen. But through a lot of prayer, crystal healing, Reiki, a lot of prayer, more prayer, and a lot of sleep, I felt my brain started to heal. What I did notice is as I was healing is every time I would go by a cell phone tower, or sometimes when I'd hear like ringing late at night, it would really hurt. I was like more receptive to these signals. So so that caused me a lot of concern as well. But now I'm at the point where I'm pretty much healed. I feel like this part of my brain is pretty much healed. But who knows what nefarious things they were doing. All I'm saying is that...
So did you experience anything else when you were out there at Camp Hero?
Just a lot of unsettled feelings.
You said you saw one black SUV?
I saw one black SUV.
It said NSA?
It said NSA, and I noticed the woman, the ranger or whatever, because it's a state park now. She seemed very robotic, very like...
Was there security out there, or no?
There's just certain areas you're not allowed to go. Apparently, part of the base is still active.
So you think you got nailed? You got nailed when you were out there.
I got nailed because I went curiosity. You know, one of my 9 lives is gone.
So you think now they've mapped your brain probably, and they have you in their system.
They probably have a lot of people in their system.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
But because I went to the source of this, I know it caused some damage. You know. But
so what kind of mind control experiences have you had since?
I've just had a lot of times where I hear like a high-pitched ringing in my ear that I know that's not coming from inside my brain, it's coming from like around here.
But you were telling me about the sirens. You get hit with sirens a lot.
Black helicopters that fly over our house. There's sirens that seem to go on for extended durations that will sometimes a cop car or whatnot will just park and have the siren going.
And you think they're being mind controlled?
I think there's some kind of pattern to the siren that's some type of mind control.
Because you say you live next to a fire station.
I live next to a fire station.
And you think you're getting more sirens than you would normally get?
Yes. Also, I'll a lot of times see NYPD outside, camped out.
But you think they're being mind controlled?
One time I went up to a cell phone tower technician and I grilled him, and I actually got some pretty good information about it. He said that they're extremely powerful. They don't need that many. You only really need a couple to cover a massive area. And he did give me some comforting things. He said a lot of these older brick buildings do a pretty good job protecting it. But it depends how far you are from the cell phone tower. But yeah, occasionally I'll walk by a cell phone tower and I'll feel like a sharp pain in my head. And I'll do what I do personally to protect myself.
It's what?
What I do to protect myself when I feel like that's up.
What do you do?
I just imagine a white ball of light around my body, and I also have certain stones that I work with. I certainly pray a lot.
So you think Montauk is a source? Montauk and Brookhaven Labs are the source of a lot of this mind control.
It's a famous mind control thing.
Yeah.
For instance, in July they did the gas. Brookhaven with another lab did these like harmless gas spraying in the subway system. Now there's a couple things about that. It's not harmless in large quantities if it's inhaled over and over. Well, it doesn't necessarily dissipate, so that means it's still lingering in the system and people are breathing in it every day. It causes things like stroke, pleurisy in the lungs. It can cause heart attacks. I mean, and they also did something, I believe, in the 60s or 70s, kind of like an Agent Orange type thing, where they were spraying in the subway system. So it's just pretty rampant between the chemtrails, the city bikes we just found out about have cameras in them, the sirens, the black helicopters, the microwaves coming from the helicopters, and also satellites who can pinpoint certain people and cause like burns or painful sensations. This guy was earlier talking about driving into the city for this chemtrail protest, and he said that his fillings were like burning. It felt like his mouth was on fire. It's really disgusting the amount of inhumane things to people who are just trying to live their lives. And it intensifies the people who are like freedom awareness people who are trying to say, like, hey, we're being poisoned. You know, it's a mass genocide. And what we're made to look like is probably what people think of me right now, like some type of fringe person. Well, unfortunately, history will tell what's going to happen. You'll start seeing more people with Alzheimer's. They're getting poisoned by aluminum, uranium, copper, lead, all these things. There's fluoride in our drinking water. We're living in times. And anyone who's watching this, who is connecting with it, and maybe has experienced some of these things, I'd say you're not alone. Trust God. There is love in this world. You can heal. If you get brain damage, your brain can heal. The human being is very powerful. And what they're trying to do is to take away our power, trying to hypnotize us through mass hypnosis, through the media, through education, through our DNA. Now they're trying to manipulate our DNA and take our DNA. They're doing it through vaccines, giving children autism. These flu shots, don't do it. They're poisoning us through our food. They're fracking us.
But
we're being attacked at all levels. So what we can do is stand up for our rights through our money, not buy these products, to continue to search, seek out the unknown. The truth is out there type mentality, even though it's really inside.
So you've had a lot of these experiences start happening to you since your experience at Montauk.
They definitely intensified. They were there before. I mean, the whole reason I went to Montauk is because things were happening to begin with. But I noticed afterward, and especially if you make things like orgonite, things will start to happen. Especially today, if you get around other like-minded people. Today we saw some pretty strange things. People coming up to us, getting right in our face, asking us all these really detailed questions. Chemtrails that weren't just lingering in the sky, but clouds that were actually close and like coming towards us.
So you think these
sirens.
people? You think a lot of that was mind control?
I think we're always being filmed.
But you think a lot of that was mind control? These people coming up to us?
Yeah, it all comes from.
It's all orchestrated.
It's all CIA, Black Ops stuff. I mean, we all know that there's like a fourth branch of the government, and they kind of run corporations that rule the world. These old ancient reptilian or what evil bloodlines.
I think there's something to that reptilian stuff going on out there.
Even if they're not necessarily dinosaurs, okay? There's a certain, they're like, we do have this kind of like reptilian part of our brain. They seem to be only living back there rather than like up here.
Yeah.
From here.
I think there's some reptilian stuff going on out in Montauk. There's a
if you want to go really deep into it,
there's a history of something like that going on.
Apparently it's the top of a mountain, and there's a whole interior mountain where there's bases of gray aliens, human hybrids, reptilians, like Zeta reptilians, which are like higher reptoids.
Out at Montauk.
Yeah, out at Montauk.
You think it's still going on?
There's also supposed to be a lot of like what they call pod people living in the town of Montauk that are like totally mind control robots.
You think it's still going on now?
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. So do I. I told you I have a direct experience
also,
with my own experience of living in Brookhaven.
There's supposed to be inner Earth caves entrances around Wall Street, at Central Park, and in Woodhill Park. I'm really at the point now where I don't care if people think I'm eccentric or crazy or one of those people.
Well, there's some shit going on, my friend. You know it. I know it.
It's out there. What's out there in the mainstream people is enough to be concerned. So if you want to
just watch your sky and look at the poison. We're being poisoned.
I know, yeah. I mean, look at the Tuskegee experiments. Look at the third world countries. It's even more intensified. So, I mean, America has the veneer of being a first world country, but
we're quickly becoming a totalitarian. Yeah.
They wiped out. They tricked the Lenape people to sell Manhattan for like a couple buttons, like some beads. I mean, it's manipulation. What I believe is, I'm not getting too much into that, but I think the last chapter of the story is they lose. But we're gonna have to go through a lot of pain before that.
Do you think there's any hope?
I think to die and be a martyr is a beautiful thing. I think to die raising the flag
of freedom.
Freedom is a beautiful thing. And those people who are killing us will be punished. And
we can only hope.
I feel sorry for them because even if they're not punished right now, they're punished inside. They're unhappy people, like soulless people. They sold their souls.
They're after our souls.
Faustian party.
I think they're after our souls.
There's the devil, and he rules the world.
Yeah, well, you look at Obama and Bush all flashing a satanic hand sign. What's going on? There's something spiritual, dark, going on in our country, and I mean, if we don't stop it.
Initial campaign, that was a mass hypnosis. Even like his emblem is like the circle. It was the sun with a circle around it. That's the sign of Satan. So, I mean, he was spouting a lot of good things. He was once, I guess, a community organizer for a company who was run by the government.
By the CIA.
Yeah.
And Bush just happened to install him, the Bushies, and so he's totally controlled, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree. And you were pointing out some Illuminati symbols right here in Union Square.
Yeah, Union Square is really interesting where we are right now.
All the buildings.
Civil War. This is where like a lot of the Irish and Black and a lot of the communities rose up. This is when the military was fighting in the Civil War, so there wasn't a lot of police force to stop them, and they burned this whole city. So if you know your history, they know that happened, and then they called in the people that were fighting. So like the military always comes in when the people rise up too strong. Just like Occupy was, it's really pushed down because whenever there's too much people power, they bring in the military.
And you say Jay-Z and Beyonce own a building right behind us.
Jay-Z and Beyonce and all those puppets live over there.
They own that whole building, right?
Yeah. There's what else? There's 3 pyramids over here.
Yeah.
Apartment complex. There's cameras everywhere. There's some Illuminati symbolism over here in this thing. And
it's all over New York.
if you look at Union Square over here from an aerial view, there's some weird sacred geometry and like that subway station looks like a UFO. It's really interesting.
So what was your name again?
My name's Eric Leiser. I'm an artist.
Eric Leiser. We just met today here at Union Square.
I'm protesting geoengineering chemtrail operations run by the CIA, the shadow government, PRISM, whatever you want to call the evil.
Well, yeah, we both seem to connect on this Montauk thing, and I happened to move all the way from Colorado, and where did I wind up moving? To a little town called Brookhaven that happens to have the largest mind control lab in the country. After I got involved with people like Colin Powell and George Bush and some criminals really that are perpetrating a lot of this stuff that's happening with chemtrails and mind control. That's been their wet dream to have mind control for the world. For as long as they can imagine, they've wanted to implement global mind control. Now they finally have the tool with chemtrails and HAARP and this nano shit that we're being poisoned with to bring that about.
People some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time.
And you can't fool them forever. And this shit's going to come back on them. I hope we're going to wake enough people up. And we didn't have as great people coming out today as I had hoped. But I think a lot of that was because of mind control. And
I think it's important to get this stuff out there and film videos like this, even if it's only seen by a few. Is that we are pre-RFDI chips. We are pre the mark of the beast, whatever you call it. We are pre not even allowed to protest anymore. So we're also pre the internet being completely controlled. There's like alternative internet.
Well, if they start another war, which they're getting ready to do, who knows what they're going to implement?
I might have even like done like a mind control thing right here, like hand signals. Like you gotta understand, just because you think you're becoming aware, doesn't mean that like old programming is gonna make you do stuff. Like I'm not a fan of like the 666 thing, but I think I was starting to do that. You have to just become more aware of like things like
with this mind control, they can get you
the enemy yourself too.
They can get people to do almost anything, whether unwittingly, and you have like they say, the brain has no firewall, and no matter how strong-minded, no matter how strong-minded you are, you have no defense against the shit that they're doing to you. They can march you around like a robot. They can march you around like a robot. I have seen it. I think you've probably seen some of this mind control. I know you have.
Sometimes I'll go into thinking patterns that are not for me.
And I've had similar experiences from being targeted by Brookhaven. I hear fucking frequencies going off like crazy. As I take the train from New York City, I go out, my ears start ringing like a frickin' fire engine. I get hit. I hear frequencies all the time going off in my head as I'm living out there. They hit me, and I start hearing this high pitched ringing in my ears. And I go, they're fucking hitting me again with something. So I'm hit with all kinds of shit, and I live out there. I still live out there, and one of the reasons I still live out there because I know it's the source of this fucking shit, the satanic shit, and I'm going to expose it. And I really appreciate your help there.
Thank you. Light will always expose darkness.
Yeah, we have to.
Shine the light.
We have to fight it. If we succumb to this evil, we're fucked. Excuse the language, but I don't know any other way to explain it.
And a lot of people who have the knowledge, they kind of put like a basket over themselves. And what it says, like, you're not supposed to hide your light. You're supposed to put your light on the highest point and shine it as far as you can.
And you may get tired.
I'm not talking about a Luciferian light.
No.
God's light.
There you go.
I'm talking about the real light.
The real light.
Okay.
But there's people that are scared to shine their light because they want to fly under the radar, and there is no flying under the radar. We're all targeted now by this stuff. We're all going to have to put ourselves out there, and you know, hey, God only put us here for a limited time. We might as well use something, use our life for something good.
Down about it. Life is very short. We're all here to be vessels of the light shine through us.
And I know for a fact I may be permanently targeted by these people. I don't know.
You're like a hero martyr to me.
If I had any sense, I'd get off this island and go back to Colorado. I'm sure Long Island, and they want me to leave. They want me out of here, New York. This is their home, and I've come in here. And I figure if you got to go fight snakes, you got to go where they live.
Right.
Unfortunately, and that's what I'm doing now.
Like
so.
St. Patrick to go.
Yeah. So, but it's still it's a nice day, even with the chemtrails. The sky is full of chemtrails. They've been spraying us since all morning, and we got people enjoying the day, and we got to stop it. It's a horrible crime against humanity, and it has no place in the world that I want to live.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can talk again.
Yeah.